looks like Russia's winning the war in Ukraine.
We also
they keep
have
dumping more and more money into it, and we are losing. Not that I want to be over there.
And we have Kirby coming out telling the press not to cover it.
Who's Kirby?
John Kirby. He's like a spokesperson. I mean, just a shocking clip.
National security spokesperson.
Yeah,
That's the guy you're talking about
Yes.
here specifically coming out. Yeah, don't report on this. And again, the Pentagon also
said don't do it.
Yeah. The Pentagon also sent notices to social media companies saying, don't do this. Elon Musk commented on this saying, if there's one way not to bring attention to a story, this is not the way to do it. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say it in the exact way. But this is a big story and highlights a lot of Ukrainian young men that are dying, that are passing away. And I think we have to start asking the question, why? What is the goal here? What is the purpose here? What's really going on here? Why are we being told everything's peachy, the Russians are going to be defeated any moment now? You hear it on the television all the time. History repeats. Russia usually has a very bad way of starting wars, but the longer the wars continue, historically, the Russians have a huge amount of manpower that they throw into these wars and usually are more successful and are able to defeat their victories the longer a war goes on. So to prolong this conflict in the history, in the Afghanistan of Europe, that is Ukraine, is absolutely crazy in the first way, even if you are pro-Ukraine. But second of all, how many innocent young men, you're destroying an entire population of young men that are being butchered and slaughtered for what? The profit of the military industrial complex?
I used to think that, but you guys know about that royal family that got all inbred? I think they're called the Habsburgs. Was that it? The Habsburgs?
You mean the British royal family? Is that them?
No, this is like a European royal family, and they're all inbred.
Yeah, I think it's the Habsburg family.
Was it the Habsburg family? You want to check?
Most royal families are inbred, by the way.
Well, no, for sure. But it got me thinking as you're talking about this, like, why are we overseas? And, I thought about 1913, the start of the Federal Reserve. Some authoritarian, strong-minded individuals are, meeting on Jekyll Island, and they're like, we're going to create a centralized banking system. And then, they have kids who have kids. And then you had, Dr. Ron Paul on the show just come right out and say that there was a revolution when the government murdered its president, John F. Kennedy. And it's like, well, okay, then. And I'm just thinking about it, and I'm like, that's like the kid of the Federal Reserve people. And now what we're dealing with is like the Habsburg offspring, which is our current military-industrial complex. Like, they're too inbred and deformed to properly function in terms of international policy. So while China is basically taking over, while they're doing negotiations with Saudi Arabia and Brazil to get off the US dollar, our Habsburg-esque military-industrial complex is like, we must conquer Ukraine. And you're like, for what, dude?
It is the Habsburgs. They're known for the distinctive Habsburg jaw. It's Habs.
Habsburg.
And it's like if you look at pictures of the Habsburg jaw, you'll see
they were like inbred or
known
whatever.
For being inbred.
But these people aren't inbred. I think they know what they're doing because they always do it. And when it comes to losing, when it comes to human sacrifice, these people don't care if the United States loses. These people don't care if Ukraine loses. Ukraine has been used by many corrupted politicians, by many internationalists, by many globalists. There's a reason BlackRock and Goldman Sachs has all the contracts right now in Ukraine. There's a reason they don't care. Look what happened in Libya. Look what happened in Afghanistan. Look what happened in Iraq. These wars aren't meant to be won. We have to think from the perspective of these people don't care about you. They don't care about the United States. They don't care about how we look to the rest of the world. They care about their contracts. They care about their money. They care about their blood sacrifice, which essentially they're doing here when we could have had peace. We could have had negotiations. We could have had this conflict ended last year in April. But no, the Western leaders got involved, flew into Ukraine, and specifically made sure that this conflict was prolonged, which is absolutely insane, which is absolutely crazy. And now there's U.S. Special Forces operating inside of Ukraine with mission-critical functions. 14 U.S. troops. What are they doing exactly there? We don't know. 50 U.K. Special Forces, 15 French Special Forces, and 17 Latvian Special Forces. Over 100 U.S. personnel in Ukraine right now. And
how many personnel?
About 100 U.S. personnel in Ukraine right now. Wow. Those are the estimates according to these documents that came out there. And even Donald Trump came out and said during the Syrian war, he killed a whole bunch of Russians because the Russians were fighting there. How many troops are we losing? Are we even going to be documenting how many U.S. forces or U.S. soldiers? I mean, there's people who volunteer there, but officially this changes the game as well.